All right, what's going on, everyone? We are on 1440p now with the 9070 XT paired with the 9700X CPU. And we've already done the 4K version earlier today. Now we're taking a look at 1440, and I think we're going to have a pretty good time on this one. Right here at low, no upscaling, we're about 160 FPS. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of these lower settings fairly quickly. See when we need to do some upscaling and then when we might need to do some frame generation. So I'm going to go ahead and make this turn, and I'll get those settings adjusted for y'all. But we're looking pretty good as far as how many frames we're getting. There's no issues at all. So we're going to jump down into the settings. We're going to kick it over to medium, and of course we are using the new FSR4 model at native, so everything's up to date. Everything's latest patches, latest drivers. Everything is up to date as far as the title goes. Put it in the thumbnail. Usually that's how I run my stuff. Give you an idea of what you can expect. All right, so 120 FPS here, no upscaling necessary at medium. This looks kind of as expected. This is a pretty powerful card, so medium with no ray tracing at 1440 shouldn't be an issue at all, and that's what we're finding out here. It looks really good. So I'm going to give it a little bit of adjustments here and come back to you. I cannot see the settings. Where is it? There it is. All right, so we're going to jump over here to high, kick it back over to FSR4. This game loves to move everything around. When you touch one thing, like 5 other sliders get manipulated, so I just got to make sure I come in here and keep everything consistent. All right, so everything looks good there. Let's go and apply it. So this would be high. Of course, it goes down a little bit, still over 100 FPS though. And let's just keep rolling through here. All right, so I am well over 100 and everything looks good. Good little drifty drift coming through here. All right, I love this area because I can just keep making these laps. And this is a hard to run area, but it's not a broken area. It's not hard to run because there's like stuff wrong with the game or anything. It's just a lot going on. There's challenging lighting. There's a lot of NPCs. And it's just in a good way. It's a good way to test. It's a good place to come and run through some of these benchmarks. All right, so right there at that obelisk around the roundabout, it did dip below 100, but that makes sense. That's typically kind of the harder area to run, and then it'll pick back up on this back stretch a lot. All right, so let's just keep on going. Let's go up to ultra and check that out, what we can expect. Grab my mouse here. So we're going to go up to ultra. Kick it back over to FSR4, no frame gen. We'll test that later. Turn all this junk off. I don't know why anyone would want film grain. Make your image look grainy for no reason. Never have understood that setting, but to each their own. So that gives us about 75 FPS here on ultra with no ray tracing yet. So of course the next setting we're going to delve into some ray tracing and see what we can expect there, and see when we do and don't need to upscale. I'm hopeful we'll be able to do a little bit of that ray tracing without the need to upscale on low. Maybe the contact shadows won't be so bad. That's typically an easier setting to run, which would be the RT low. That gives you your contact shadows. So right here, everything's left the same. As you can see here, local shadows right there, and then your sun shadows and your reflections are next. And then, of course, path tracing will be, we'll have to see how that goes. But we were able to do it at 4K a little bit. It took a lot, but we were able to get it done. But yeah, everything looks good here. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Again, this is still native, and that first level of RT is typically not too hard to run. As you can see, we didn't dip down too much at all. We're still in the high 60s, low 70s as far as performance goes. And, of course, our VRAM looks good. We've got 16 on this card, so no concerns there really. But yeah, back in the back stretch here, it brings it back up to about 80. So it dips down to high 60s on that roundabout area, then kind of picks back up around this back stretch, which is pretty consistent with every card that I've tested. It pretty much just runs really well on that back part, and then dips down a little bit around this roundabout. All right, yeah, we're down in the 60s now. All right, so let's jump back over into it as I hit this wall. Let's see, where are we at? All right, so we need to go up to medium, kick that back over to FSR4 anti-aliasing. Come down here, turn all this junk off. We certainly don't need any of that. All right, so this would be the high, or the medium ray tracing, yeah, because we don't have reflections yet. So this is medium ray tracing. as I smash into that wall. That was very, very slick. All right, so yeah, we are at 47, 46. So this is about the point in time where you would want to do some quality upscaling. But yeah, man, those lights are looking nice now. Definitely pumps it up a little bit. I really love the way ray tracing looks in this game. It's still, even though it will melt a GPU, it still looks so dang good. Way better than most titles. Most titles do have ray tracing, but they don't implement it nearly as beautifully as this title does, for sure. This is still the showcase title, even though it's, what, about 4 or 5 years old now. It still gives a GPU hell when it comes to ray tracing and path tracing, for sure. I call it the GPU microwaver. Alright, so yeah, we are looking about 43 FPS here. Let's jump over and keep on going. Let's go over to the ray tracing medium and then try some upscaling, so quality upscaling, to see where we're at now, because we definitely needed it. So let's come over here, kick all this down. Alright, so that gives us up in the 70s, low 80s, and man, it's looking good. Definitely smooth. This card really just kicks so much ass at 1440. I really like this card for 1440. It's definitely probably my number 1 or number 2 for this resolution. Oh well, you know, he got out in front of me, so as long as I get out of here, I won't have any troubles with the police. All right, so here we go. Let's just jump over. Make this rather quick. All right, so about 85 FPS looks good. So let's keep on going and kick it up to that very next level of ultra ray tracing. Of course, let's keep it on quality because we needed it then. We'll need it now. All right, so let's jump in here, get all this taken care of. All right, so where does that leave us? So on ultra ray tracing, with no path tracing enabled yet, and just a simple quality quality FSR. Almost said DLSS. With a quality FSR, you are looking at 73 FPS, and this looks really good. I'm just kind of mowing through some folks here, trying to get this test underway. But yeah, everything looks nice. Oh man, I've been alerted. Let me come up here, do some heavy driving here. Can I get away from them? I don't know. But yeah, we're at 79, 80 FPS up here. So as you can see, it definitely runs a lot better in most of the other parts of the game. So around that obelisk area, that's kind of worst case scenario. I've completely trashed this car. All right, so here we are at ultra, well, this is path tracing with quality FSR. So let's jump in and do a recap. I had to just get those cops off of me. That was driving me crazy. All right, so here we are. Yeah, we've got basically quality FSR. No frame gen yet. Down here you can see that path tracing has been enabled, so it gets rid of all the other ray tracing settings. This is the highest level of ray tracing you can do in this title. It's definitely challenging to run, as you can see. With quality FSR, we are in the mid-30s, so we're going to have to go up on our upscaling for sure. We're probably going to have to go to performance. Balance just ain't going to do it. So I'm going to kick over to balance and just kind of show you guys what you can expect. You know, I mean, that's why you're here, right? So this is balance. It probably is not going to get us to 60. Yeah, it barely does anything. Balance is kind of a, it just kind of takes the edge off. It really doesn't do too much usually. You know, I'm not sure if it just something kicks in at performance, but you're probably going to have to go down to performance if you don't want to use any frame generation, which I really wouldn't recommend with frames this low. So I'm going to jump over and go to performance DLSS, and then we'll be, or not DLSS, FSR. If I say DLSS, I mean FSR. So we're just going to go to performance, leave everything else the same, and see if that gets us up high enough to enable some frame generation, and still not quite. All right, so here we are back in it. This is of course performance FSR. We've got path tracing fully maxed out, and our FSR frame generation is active, and that gives us 100 FPS. So this is a good way to play it here if you really want to enjoy full path tracing. And yeah, this is just a real quick look at it. And while you're here, if you're still hanging on, appreciate you watching this whole video with me. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you're not new, of course, thank you for coming back and showing me additional support. But yeah, you can absolutely play this title all the way maxed out with all the different FSR features on 1440, no problem, full path tracing. Just make sure that you are kind of understanding what you're getting into. You know, you're going to have to use everything at your disposal, but that's been a wrap on this. I really appreciate you watching, and we will see you in the very next video. Peace.